G'day viewers. Well, I'm very excited, not just because I'm blessed with a visitation from Button, but because I've got something I've always wanted. I've commissioned a new model jacket from Superior Fencing. They have sent us the prototypes, and this is a review of what they have come up with. So many years ago, I made a weirdly controversial video complaining about the sort of first generation of HEMA jackets, such as this Spez model. And my problems with them were twofold. First of all, that the soft padding of which they are made was perhaps not the most protective thing in the world, and perhaps some sort of hard plastic plating would have been a better choice. And the second issue with them is that you're essentially wrapping yourself in a giant doona, which isn't the best for heat management. And the other problem, of course, is that they only cover your upper body, which means you've got to wear a special battle skirt or fighting trousers or something like that. As an alternative, I suggested something like my reasonably authentically made Highland cartoon, okay, which is essentially, these are stuffed tubes, which are rock solid. The whole thing is relatively light, and it's a gambeson cut, so it goes all the way down to just above the knees. So one piece, neck to knee, nice and solid, nice and protective, and cool. And to plug up the things like the armpits, which remain the coolest, I just wore a mail shirt underneath, which is ventilated and stab proof. This is the thing. This thing, sadly, after about 25 years of constant use, got to the point where I've just had to retire it. So it only comes out on very special occasions now. While awaiting the response from various manufacturers, I did some modifications to this myself. I cut, for instance, of various panels out, such as the back, and replaced them with sports mesh, so it's now nice and cool. And I also added some thigh pieces. So these are just sewn on, and they are made primarily of fairly hard felt, acoustic soundproofing felt, I think it is, which gives a nice solid protection to the thighs there. So this was kind of my homemade version of what I wanted. Now, the heat problem was first addressed by Neyman. To give them their full credit, they invented the Zero jacket, which has ventilated arms and a ventilated back panel, and this is the original Mark I Zero jacket, and it's fantastic and certainly is really nice and cool. Superior Fencing came along shortly afterwards with what they call the Thermo jacket, which has got much the same idea, but honestly it's just a better cut of jacket with much better arm mobility than the sort of T-tunic cut of the other one. As for the body protection, these are of course light, very lightly padded, and so we did see various people making various bits of plastic armor. Some of them have pockets in their jacket that you put bits of plastic in, or other bits that you strap over the top. So the plastic bits did start appearing as well. Personally, I've just been using this. So this is a sort of martial arts protector thingy. We also use a lot of the Absolute Fencing plastrons. And both of them work in much the same way, in that they've got vertical strips of plastic sewn in with very light padding underneath. And that's just enough so that it's solid armor, so it spreads the force of the blow. This has the advantage over the Absolute Fencing ones because the back is open, and so I still get the ventilation, whereas the Absolute Fencing ones are shut. But basically, they both do the same job, and they're both really good. However, it did strike me that it should be possible to make a jacket inspired by the Highland cartoon with the sort of long one-piece gambeson cut, the same way you make one of these, that is with plastic strips and a little bit of padding rather than the traditional stuffed tubes. So I asked Superior Fencing if they would make us a couple of prototypes of this sort of armoured jacket, and bless their souls, they did. And here it is, and it's fantastic. It's everything I asked for. So, features of it. Start from the neck. It's got an inbuilt gorget with sword catcher, which is not something I've ever had on a jacket before, so taking a little bit of getting used to something around my neck there, but one less bit of kit I need to worry about. The upper arms and shoulders are just padding in order to maintain that full arm movement, and the really nice cut pattern that Superior Fencing use. From the neck downwards to the belt, we have strips of solid plastic, and these are sewn in. There's very light padding behind it, not very much at all, so the whole thing is actually quite light. It's not a big heavy thing at all. And these go all the way around to the back panel there, so my kidneys and ribs and around there are all really well protected as well. The belt strip is soft so that you can, he even sewed in a belt for me, which I was not expecting. So you can pull it into your waist, and stick your dirk or your dagger and a scabbard on the side, which I'm planning on doing. And then we have solid plates again from there down to just above the knee. And the solid plating is fantastic because it spreads the blows really, really nicely. So, of course, it's only so hard I can hit myself, but you get the idea. Unlike soft padding, if I did that to my arm, that would really hurt. And you still feel the blows. You know you've been hit. I didn't want something that was so thickly padded and so heavy that you didn't know you were getting hit, which is what my authentic cartoon is like. That's real armor. That's designed to withstand real sword blows. I wanted something that was light and you would still know you were getting hit, but reducing the chance of injury without the need to wear special plastrons or extra bits of plastic armor. And it does that job fabulously. Comes with elbows. The elbow design seems to be a new one that I've not seen from them before, which is much more, conforms to the shape of the elbow much more nicely than the previous ones. These ones did, however, come unpadded, and they have a kind of plastic waffle pattern on the inside, which was a bit unpleasant on my elbows. So I've put a little bit of extra foam in there, and that seems to be sufficient. It's not, 5mm thick of soft foam does the trick. So I'll do that on the other elbow, or you could just use whatever other elbow pads you got lying around there. They're cheap and easy to find. We could get them to make 2 of these, and the second one came with their full arm protector thing. So you've got forearms, elbow and upper arm and shoulder all in one piece on there. So that's another option. As far as the top of the shoulders go, which are just padding, as I said, in order to maintain the full arm rotation, if you're worried about being hit there, I'm going to do exactly what I did on the Zero jacket and just make a couple little plastic shoulder flaps just to sew on there, just to cover in case something comes down there. I don't get hit there very often, so it's not a big deal as far as I'm concerned, but that's an easy modification I can make myself if you don't buy the full arm bits. So essentially it's a one-piece neck to knee jacket. It means that I don't need to wear the special fighting trousers. Hooray. Just having this as a skirt means that you're getting tremendous ventilation, which helps cool the whole thing down enormously, just not having to wear special padded trousers, as I've always thought were dreadful things. It does overlap around there, which means if you forgot your box, you're probably still going to be okay. This is really pretty solid stuff. Any downsides to it? I did find that these do interfere a little bit with the very top of my leg armor, so I'm going to have to trim a centimeter or so off that. That's just a random thing that happens with the armor I happen to have. That's going to be an easy fix. Elbows, as I say, a little bit of foam in there. It is a little bit more bulky and more difficult to transport. You can't just squish it into a ball and stick it in a little bag, obviously, but it does fold. So because there's no padding around the belt bit, you can fold the thigh bits up and so get it down to about that size. And honestly, that's not too bad. You might need a slightly bigger bag. The only other downside I can possibly think of is that I'm not going to be throwing this in the washing machine the same way I did with the old thermo jacket. This is going to be back to a gentle soak in the bath every now and again, and careful drying in the sun. But all of that is well worth it. I'm absolutely over the moon with this. This is what we should be wearing. This is great stuff. To prove it works, let's have a look at it in action, particularly at the bits where I'm getting hit.
Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me, hit me. Hit me, hit me, hit me. Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me slowly, hit me quick. Hit me, hit me, hit me. From the wilds of Borneo to the vineyard of Bordeaux, Eskimo, Arapaho, move their bodies to and fro. Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me, hit me. Das ist gut, say fantastic. Hit me, hit me, hit me. Hit me with your rhythm stick. It's nice to be a lunatic. Hit me, hit me, hit me.
So, because of its Highland inspiration in design, and the fact that the reason that I got off my bum and got them to make it is that we're now playing with the big Highland two-handed swords, as you can see, so needed something above and beyond the normal level of protection. So for those two reasons, I suggested that they call it the Claymore jacket, which they thought was a good idea. So this is the new Superior Fencing Claymore jacket. Solid plating over your full torso, full thighs, padding on your bum so you can still sit down. You can get that ventilated or not. If you want just padding, they will do that. You can get this ventilated or not if you choose. Nice, well padded upper arms, full arm mobility with both arms. And really, you get one of these, you stick something on your legs and a helmet on your head, and you're done really quick. And really good protection. So, at last, this is the sort of HEMA armour I think we should all be wearing. So, thank you, Superior Fencing. It's absolutely fantastic. So, as mentioned in the review, the only design issue I could find with the jacket, and I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, is that the bottom of the skirt did get snagged just behind the top of my leg guards. Now, I fixed that with my leg guards just by slightly trimming them, but I have been testing it with all the other sorts of leg guards that other people in the club are using, and I did find the same problem in that the bottom of the skirt would sometimes get stuck but behind the top of the knee guards as it kind of flapped out. So for the production model of the jacket, which we're going to be buying in significant numbers, What I'm suggesting to superior fencing is that they extend the skirt by sort of yay much, 6 to 8 centimeters, something like that. So it will come down just below the knee, and that means there will be no way of it getting snagged up behind the top of the knee guard as you step forward or lunge or something like that. So this is the sort of protection I've always wanted. For those of you who are using sort of, reasonably heavy cutty type swords and want that extra bit of protection, I think this is going to be a really, really useful product. And I love the simplicity of the fact that you just zip it up and you're done neck to knee. So I hope you found that enlightening. That will probably be the last in the HEMA Armour series because the problem has been solved. HEMA Armour is now good. Hooray.